right. Tanya, so Marcel Dixon brought a lot of energy. I'm seeing there's a lot of back and forth. People can't stand him. People love him. People want to see more. People want to see him run for president. People want him to sit his ass down. And I like it because all of that energy means that something dead has been awakened. And here's the problem with our politics. We have been woefully lulled into the sense of motionlessness that has gotten very little done. And every time I talk about Flint, Michigan, which still has dirty, filthy, poisonous water, and all these places in Mississippi and Alabama and places in South Carolina that don't have clean water in this country. People do not have clean water. Something's broken. And we're not even they're talking about the education system and all these things. And if you've been in office for 20, 30, 10 years, but 40 years, something's a problem to me that you keep getting elected. And the problem is us, because we keep expecting a different result when the reality is you don't have to like his style. You don't have to like his tone. You don't have to like the level in which he yells and screams or whatever. This man lives in a place where he is tired of seeing the same thing happen and nothing's being done about it. And someone called him arrogant. Yeah. A lot of people who run for office are arrogant. They are ego driven. Yes. That doesn't mean that he doesn't care about the people who live in that district. I believe he cares about the people that live in that district. I believe he cares greatly because it's his family members and the kids that he teaches. So it's a vested interest. Jim Clyburn spends more time in D.C. and other places than he does probably in the community. And he'll show up in the community when he needs a vote. I'm not disparaging him. He's probably been a great person when he was in his 20s and 30s fighting for civil rights. But I think there's a complacency that happens with people that go to Washington. I've watched it, and I've talked to people who have been in Washington, and it's a drug. It's a powerful drug where you get to, you get a level of access to things and power, and you get comfortable. But we do not have time for comfort. We got things that need to get done. And if it takes somebody that makes you a little uncomfortable, good. That's where change happens. Change happens in the discomfort. So be uncomfortable, but ask yourself, is voting for somebody? Now, I am wholesalely against not voting. Not voting absolutely hands the keys, the reins over to somebody who is an open enemy. I don't think Jim Clyburn's an open enemy. That said, if we voted more about policy and what things are getting done versus, who's getting them done, I think we would get a lot more things done. And if we held people accountable, meaning that they lose their jobs from every now and then, maybe more people would come to the table with action items that actually get done. Tanya.
Love me some Marcel. He was bringing that Malcolm X energy, and didn't nobody like Malcolm X? Okay. He got people fired up. He got them feeling things, which can maybe get them off the couch. And I really think it is a very important thing for us to talk about the people who perceived him as angry. That man is not angry. That man is passionate. His facts are on point. If you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, that is the definition of insanity. And all he did was keep pointing out that we have been doing the same thing since the civil rights movement and nothing has changed. So he's saying we got to do something different. People who don't know what the Overton window is, it's something that the Republicans use. They put forth extreme points of view so that people can reject that, but they move you further in their direction. So if you don't like what he said, but if it moves us closer to Black people getting things that we need, that's important.
Okay. Now, you went too far with the Malcolm X comparison. I don't think he's nearly as, no, he's not Malcolm. But but for this time, if it moves people closer to the agenda, which is clean water, education for our children, and healthcare
for everybody, not just everybody. My community, but everybody.
Right, but his point was, if you serve Black people, everybody else gets served, and that's been to me the missing link in our political system. When you serve Black people, everybody wins, because the things that you are going to serve Black people with end up domino affecting. That's the true trickle down. But that means that you have to first put us at the top, which is I don't know if anyone would argue with that. And if you would, call us 866-801-8255. That said, the non-voting is problematic for me because if you lose, you damn well better show up. You got to show up. You got to show up, Tanya.
You are letting the naysayers change the argument. The man said nothing about not voting. He did
said
not
he would write in himself.
No, he said he'd write in an agenda.
Right. He did say that.
If we don't write in the agenda, when is the agenda going to get on?
You're right.
We've been waiting since the civil rights movement. When is it going to happen?
Okay. I can't argue with it, and like we put a motion over here and let's deal in the facts of the thing. 866-801-8255. I'm not in South Carolina, 6th District. I don't live there. He does. And apparently he is identified some issues. Now, somebody said he sounds like ADOS. He does. He probably is. And I have no problem with the reparations movement at all. That's the association. I don't know. But it's people of African descendants of I want to say enslaved, so it should be ADOE of the enslaved African.
Well, ain't all of us that?
No, not all of us. Some people have come here from other places, and therefore they have no rights to the reparations that could be handed out if HR 40 is studied and then there's actually a reparation law or plan in place. No one coming from any place else should get that. I agree with that, but let's get there first. What?
Hold up, all of them Caribbean people, they
should go petition Great Britain.
People was in Britain,
yes, they should petition Great Britain for theirs. The Haitians should petition France. Actually, Haiti deserves to get the reparations that they paid back, and then reparations. Great Britain, Portugal, Spain, all of those countries that were colonized and enslaved by those countries, Canada, should be paying reparations to those entities.
The World Bank should just make a fund for all of the people,
all black people, and every one of those. I think that's the best. And you know what, Malcolm? Malcolm was actually going for that by going to the UN, because if the UN then had to have the World Bank and every single one of these nations that participated in slavery put the money into a pool, and then we have global reparations. That is probably the fairest, because wherever you are in the world, you're impacted by anti-blackness. And whether you've been here 10 years, 20 years, or 5, 6 generations as I have, any place you go, you are impacted directly by this white enslavement system that we're under, right? So I agree with you. But it requires more nuance. So I'm not just going to be like, ADOS, let's not have the conversation. I'm not mad at him being for reparations and pushing for HR 40 to be passed. So if he's in Congress, maybe he'll have a bigger voice and he can get together with a bunch of other people. Listen, this is all strategy for me. I don't have an emotional attachment nor attachment to any party or any person. I may like a person and still be like, that person's not good for us. Now, I can hang out with you and have a beer with you, even though I don't drink beer, but I can hang out with you. But that doesn't mean I think that you're good for us, and I'm going to say it. I'm that person. So let's go to the phones. 866-801-8255. And I love Tanya's just like, let's shake up the whole thing. I'm with you. Let's see. Leonard in Virginia Beach.
How you doing, Karen?
Good.
All right. So I've been listening. I first heard of him on Twitter. So he's been in groups with the ADOS, the Freedmen, the FBA. It's like so many divisions of black community on Twitter, right? And they all say the same thing. They try to beautify by not voting, say they're going to write in. But a lot of them don't want to vote. They want to blow up the whole political system. And then
let me pause you. There actually is a time and a place to do that. It's just not now. Like I'm all for third and fourth parties. I'm all for everybody withholding their vote at some point, but just not now. Things are so critical in terms of whether or not we're going to have a country, whether or not black people are going to be safe in this country, that I am not willing to forsake anybody's safety, anybody's life for a political move at this point. I think now is not the time to do that. But I totally think that that's a great strategy at another time when things calm down in terms of our safety. This is a very tinderbox powder keg moment in our history where our physical lives are in jeopardy, I believe, on a regular basis. And we're seeing it. There's an article about the mass shooter in Uvalde sparking a whole group of people online to want to copycat that. And then the guy in Buffalo with his manifesto has inspired a whole group of copycats. And he's a copycat of Dylan Roof, So this is not a safe time to start, with the truly radical, the things that might actually turn this system upside down. But I'm here for it. But go ahead, finish your statement, Leonard.
And everything you just said, and I say that in those spaces, and they kick me out, talking about I'm an old school coon. I'm like, I'm nothing close to a coon. I'm trying to get you to be strategic about this. There's ways of going about this. And if you notice how he kept mispronouncing Kamala Harris' name and everything, a lot of these people in these groups, if you're not from America,
you mean Kamala?
They don't claim.
You mean Kamala Harris? Okay.
Kamala.
It could happen. We all. I mean, listen. It's not necessarily phonetically. I mean, it's phonetically beautiful. No. Kamala. It's a lot of us, we black, we say Kamala, because Tamala. It's what is it? It's Kamala. 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 I messed it up. It could happen.
But my thing is, you can't win when you sow division in your own black community.
I agree. That's why I can't get down with any of those movements, and you don't hear me ever promoting those because they are, at the core, you're anti-black if you're anti-black of anybody, to me. And I can't right now or anytime allow for any anti-blackness because that's that's the yeast that is needed to upend all of us. And I'm not bringing that yeast in here. Hello.
Well, here's the yeast. I'm going to tell you that.
You bringing yeast. Why are you going to bring yeast?
Because we're going into a dark time.
Yes.
They're going to take the midterms. They're going to take the presidency. So I hope when we come out of that more than a two-party system, and we come out of there doing something that's never been done before.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, let me tell you, I've been in the role of Hodor. Those of you who are Game of Thrones fans.
Hodor.
I've been the role of Hodor for the last 7 years because I've been seeing it, and I'm just trying to hold the door. But it didn't end well for Hodor. And I feel like I'm literally with the last stages of the door, and they trying to get through. The White Walkers are coming through, and I'm trying to hold the door, trying to make sure everything. And the White Walkers, they overtake Hodor. I feel like I've been like Hodor for the last 7 years, just holding this door. Because you see what's behind you and you know what's coming. And so when I talk about getting your money together and make sure you have enough potable water and making sure you're, go get your gun license. Everybody should have a gun license. Everybody should make sure that their community is tight. You have a neighborhood watch. What are you doing in your neighborhood watch? How are we communicating with one another? Oh, let me build a whole ass community. Hey, Narrative, Nubia, let's come where we can come together and have meetings and talk about it when things go down. We know we have a community global community that we can come and plug into. But you're right, Tanya. I mean, we're in dark times. We're literally in dark times right now. This didn't just happen. But that's what I'm saying. That's why planning 50 years, 100 years, so that you can get far enough away from where we are right now to see the possibilities. But we can't do that if we're infighting around who's black and who's not black and just dumb stuff that is not moving us towards freedom. But, we got work to do. And a lot of us are still very addled and stuck mentality-wise. All right, let's take a couple more calls, and then we got my friend Olympian Cullen Jones is waiting to come in, and I want to talk about swimming because we're in swim season, and black people drown more than anybody else. Let me welcome Mary. Mary's in. Hi, you've been waiting in Jersey. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to point out that, I'm in Jersey, but, I thought it was quite commendable, and we could recognize the candidates' efforts with working with the Youth and Model Congress, because he really does study the roles of the House of Representatives in encouraging the youth and teaching the youth how to be politically active, and from that perspective is quite engaging and passionate about his work. And I really like when he was saying how should should the policies that are not being supported, the representative or people not supporting the policies from other states, or if he moves, that he'd get on the plane and then go to the other states and speak to their constituents there. I thought that was totally brilliant and gangster, and we should all of our representatives should do that specifically, because if we're all working together with all the states, I think that would really help, because not only should you be, for instance, New Jersey, not only should our representatives in New Jersey support New Jersey, they should also be supporting things in other states, because, you know, the different representatives have powers within the House, and so working together, working strategically that way would be quite effective. And so while his delivery, could be potentially perceived as off-putting, it was the passion and the fire, and he does know what he's talking about and how strategically to work in Congress, because he has been teaching children how to function in Congress through Model UN. I have participated in Model UN, and that is a great experience, and he's actually also helping the youth to learn and
to see in full time what that looks like by doing it. I couldn't agree more. I love teachers. First of all, love them. Best people in our society, teachers. So thank you, Mary. Let's take Tony in Georgia. He wants to give his thoughts. Hi, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony. Yes, come on.
Yeah. Hi. I was listening to it on the line. Look, again, I want to reiterate what the previous couple of callers earlier said. It's still about math. When you talk about elderly black people wanting their roofs fixed, he should have bought a ladder and climbed up there and fixed their roof to prove to them that he's about action and not about talk. Mm-hmm. To say that Reverend Warnock is problem because of stuff that happened in the 1960s, because blacks haven't been given their proper turn for a legislative agenda, is ridiculous. Then he just said that because Tim Scott had been in there 6-8 years, and he's done more than Jim Clyburn in 30 years, that's not a national issue, and that's not true. I can talk about the weather. I can talk about my dog biting somebody, but unless I put my dog down or I buy something to cover myself when it rains or when it's cold, I'm just talking.
What?
We get enough politicians to talk. You don't get to know local issues.
Hold on. Stop yelling at me. All right. I think what he said was Raphael Warnock didn't have a black agenda. That's what I heard. And so his thing is pure, I believe he is ADOS. I believe he is purely, what are you doing for Black America? And that should be a question. If we're Black in America, we should want to know what all of the candidates, a lot of us, want to have a broad, because we're representing, and Raphael Warnock is representing all of Georgia. So he can't have just a Black agenda. You're representing a district that's predominantly Black. You can have a Black agenda. You can require Jim Clyburn to have a Black agenda. This, again, requires some nuanced understanding of how politics works. Raphael Warnock is running for Senate, the United States Senate, for the entire state of Georgia, which is not predominantly Black, and therefore he has to serve all of the constituents there, just as Barack Obama was running for the president of the United States, not Black America. Now, that Black America didn't ask Barack Obama specifically for anything or make him do something for us, that's the fault of us who follow quote-unquote leaders who had access in an ear and didn't require anything of them other than to be Black. That's our fault. Now, that said, his leveling criticism against Clyburn versus what Tim Scott has done, he said specifically on the land grant area, right, on making sure that Black folks, this was a very specific. He said Tim Scott has done more than Clyburn. Those are things that you can literally Google search to find out if it's true. So instead of being mad about things that you're hearing, I feel like we're just hanging on to something. I don't like how he talks or how he presented himself, but what did he actually say? He didn't say Raphael Warnock is trash. He said he didn't have a Black agenda, which is true. Now, that doesn't disqualify him for me, because he's running for the Senate. We need that Senate seat. So I'm thinking strategically, I need Raphael Warnock to win in Georgia, period. So Georgians vote for him so that we can get all of the rights, or at least hold on to the rights that we have and maybe get voting rights. I don't know, but that's where it starts. So somebody, King DPC 83 said, not one person in this barbershop likes that dude. He said, it's 13 of us adults and everyone's trying to call your show right now. He would make folks stay home. This is what he said. So again, his style, in many eyes, the eyes that I'm seeing, Tanya, his style is not winning over a lot of people, and then some people are loving him. So
that's okay. His style don't have to win. His style won me over. I like his style.
But you don't live in South Carolina's 6th district, so
his style got people activated.
Okay.
If they gonna vote against him, they gonna get up and vote for somebody because they didn't like him. So I'm all for the style that gets people feeling things. I don't care if they feel things that disagree with me. I like any style that gets people feeling things.
Okay. All right, Tanya. Well, I'm not sold. But, you know, we're this platform. I want to hear from everybody. If you haven't heard somebody, it's because they're afraid to come on or they ducking for whatever reason. It's not because they weren't invited. We invite everybody on the show who's out there running. As we had Mia on, who's running for governor of South Carolina, and then we had her opponent on yesterday because this is what we do. We're going to talk to everybody because y'all need to be able to call up and talk to them too. Everybody lives someplace.